Hey guys, right now we're going to be doing an unboxing video for the Crystal Blue Nintendo 2DS, so get ready. So here we have the Nintendo 2DS, the Crystal Blue. This also is available in red. I thought the blue was a little more fitting for my personal tastes. I mean, when I first saw this, I thought that this looked so damn cool. You know why? Because it just reminded me of my childhood, where I'll bet you everyone who had an N64 had one of these controllers. This was the green one. There's a bunch of other colors where you can just see through, you can see all the internals. And it was just such a 90s thing. And I really missed that. So when I saw this, it immediately brought me back. And when I was first deciding which 3DS to get, I was really torn between the 3DS XL and the 2DS. This color wasn't out yet. And this one looked really comfortable, but ultimately I picked the 3DS XL because I wanted both the larger screen and the ability to use the 3D. I never use the 3D. I almost always keep it off. It's usually just a pain, so now when they came out with this one, I was like, I just gotta get it. It looks so cool. I really can't pass it up. And I don't think it's going to be around all that much longer because there is a new 3DS XL and regular 3DS that has the extra buttons that they're going to be coming out here in the States sooner or later. So these models will probably all be discontinued sooner or later. Comes with the AR cards that nobody wants. Club Nintendo stuff, which I would recommend everybody using Club Nintendo. I just signed up and they just sent me the Smash Brothers CDs, and you can get free games and other stuff, so that's a good incentive for registering all your stuff. This is the charging cable, pretty standard. I already have one. But here's what we really want to get to. How do I open this without destroying it? Come on, Nintendo. There we go. This is actually my first time holding one. I've seen them in person, but I've never held one. Right off the bat, it's pretty light. It's a little lighter than I expected, and it's also a tick smaller than I expected. And I was always assuming that these buttons were going to be far superior to the regular 3DS, because the 3DS and the 3DS XL have really tiny shoulder buttons, whereas these ones, I can tell, your hands are going to want to stay up here at all times, so it's going to be superior in that sense. It's got the circle pad, which this actually looks like a slightly different circle pad to the one that's on my 3DS. I can tell it's just slightly different, although it feels pretty much the same. The buttons feel about the same. Start and select, power, home button at the bottom, there's a microphone, and here's the D-pad. The D-pad feels squishier, a little spongier than my 3DS XL, and I know that back here is the stylus, which is a good spot for it. On the side, here's your SD card, which I'm assuming there's one in there. Let's see. Yeah, there is. 4 gig. 4 gig really isn't enough, but this is really going to be a secondary unit for me. And of course they have to have the cameras, which that's one of my biggest gripes about this thing. You took out some of the crap that people didn't want. People didn't need either. You didn't need the clamshell design necessarily. You didn't need the 3D. And you know what you really don't need? The cameras. I wish they would have taken out the camera, or maybe have left this one, but really, every device nowadays has a camera, so just take out the camera, take out these 2 cameras, take out the mic. What do we need these things for? What are we shooting videos with our 3DSs? Nobody's going to do that. Everyone has a cell phone nowadays. But think about how much money they could have saved if they cut out the pointless cameras, and they have the 2 cameras back here so you can shoot in 3D. What's the point, you know? What games and apps really work with that? Come on, it's just not necessary. You don't need to do that. So I think they couldn't knock that price point to well under $100 if they got rid of those pointless features. And the microphone as well. Because you'll notice there's only one speaker. It only has mono sound. The 3DS's sound... My 3DS XL has the stereo sound, and the speakers suck. They sound like garbage. So, yeah, sure, save some money by getting rid of one of these, but get rid of everything else, too. I went ahead and got it all set up just so I could, play around with it a little bit. And it just feels great. It's really comfortable, and it sits in your hands a lot better than the 3DS or the 3DS XL does. Now, the little corners here kind of rest in your palms, and your fingers just naturally want to be up here. Now I have big man hands, big giant gorilla hands. I'm a big dude, so a little handheld for me for extended playtime is going to be a problem, but this, I can tell, it just feels comfortable. They have a really good button layout on it, and that was one of the biggest attractions to it for me. Now I'll do a comparison with the one that I normally use. This is my 3DS XL, and it was so uncomfortable that I had to get this attachment for it. I got this on eBay for like $7, and it makes it pretty much feel like an Xbox 360 controller, and it makes it a lot easier to hit these buttons, your shoulder buttons. Without it, I just don't think that I would be able to comfortably use this system for long periods of time, which is kind of why I in the first place wanted to get the 2DS. When you hold it like this, there's just nothing ergonomic to grip your hands onto, and especially hitting the shoulder buttons, really difficult. And down here, how am I supposed to use the D-pad? I'm going to stretch my hand way down, or am I going to go like this and just barely touch the corner of the system? I don't think that, I mean, yeah, for portability's sake, it'll slip in your pocket nice and easy, but it's not going to be comfortable enough. I would extremely recommend grabbing one of these, and like I said, you can get them on eBay. They're even on Amazon, and they just snap right on. But with the 2DS, you don't need that. And that was the biggest thing that I hated about the 3DS, is if I wanted to take that with me somewhere, I would have to take it out of the holder. Whereas this is just going to fit nice and comfortably, you know, in a case, and I don't have to worry about unhooking some gadget to it. It's just ready to play as is. I don't need that clamshell design. I'm not going to scratch these screens up. You know, I'm an adult and I take good care of my stuff. So there we have the Nintendo 2DS, and this is the crystal blue version. And at the end of the day, I definitely would recommend this system to any gamer who's looking to jump into the 3DS library, or if you already have a 3DS and you want to get a backup. This is a good idea because it's going to give you some diversity. Maybe you don't want to have to hold the regular DS all the time. I honestly believe that these are going to be collector's items one day, which was another factor to me wanting to get one sooner than later. I've noticed that these were on sale, I think, for $99. I think I paid around $120. I think it's only going to start climbing because once the new 3DS comes out, these ones just aren't going to be as desirable, and I don't think they're going to keep this red and the blue color up for too much longer. These are going to be, if anyone in the future is going to want a 2DS, they're going to want one of these. These are going to be the most desirable models, at least that's available right now. It's a pretty cheap price, you know, $120-ish I paid. You know, you really can't go wrong for that. I would definitely recommend this to anybody. And it looks really cool, and even if you're not going to play it, it's definitely going to be a good collector piece. So thanks for checking out my video, and stay tuned for more cool content.